back to Spotsylvania, but I'm going to be doing hopscotch down to Spotsylvania. I'll be riding a series of VRE trains, stopping off at different places along the way and eventually getting back to the Spotsylvania tonight. This is engine V61. I'll be taking it on 301 to Alexandria. Well, this is the first time I've ever taken a train ride to Washington, D.C. via the back door. Instead of coming from New York, I'm actually coming from the south, Spotsylvania. But it's been fun. Tipped off by a local rail fan that the Geometry train is going to be coming by shortly. That structure back there is the George Washington Masonic Memorial.
Post 106.4. Track 2. No defects. No defects. Total axle 1, 2. End of transmission.
That's heralding the approach of some interesting movement on CSX. W003-17 is what the symbol of that is. Track Geometry train. Here it comes. Man, this is unexpected. My Irish luck is really biting me in the butt. What a catch.
Milepost 106.4. Track 3. No defects. No defects. Total axle 3, 6. End of transmission.
140. Here comes Virginia Railway Express 325 bound for Broadway Airport. Engine V67. I'm in downtown Alexandria, Virginia, outside of D.C. That white building in the center with the red sign, that's Bob and Edith's Diner. Hey, you're looking at a Washington Metro train arriving at the King Street Alexandria station with the George Washington Masonic Memorial towering in the background. I remember what this area used to look like back in the 60s. Nothing like it does today. The memorial is there, and the trains are still here. There's a yellow line train arriving King Street, Alexandria on the Metro. I remember I was here on a freezing cold March 1972 day, and this was far away in the future, the Metro. Alexandria has no shortage of historic structures. This Federal Revival-style Alexandria Union Station was completed in 1905 and served many railroads. Right across the street is this George Washington Masonic Memorial, which was completed in 1932. Right at 301 is Virginia Railway Express 303, bound for Spotsylvania. I'll get on him and ride him to Woodbridge. David Brickley. All right, we got off 303 at Woodbridge. The station at Woodbridge is fairly new, nicely manicured, rather attractive structure. That red sign with the white lettering is not unlike a Central Railroad of New Jersey station sign. For our next train, Virginia Railway Express 305, we should see several Amtrak trains. The southbound number 95, Boston, Norfolk, and the Silver Stars each way. 336, here comes Amtrak 95, Boston to Norfolk. The Silver Star. Ah, 342, that was Amtrak 92, the Silver Star from Florida to New York. They put on a good horn show, mixed bag of P42 and ALC 42. Okay, approaching at 352 is Amtrak 91, the Silver Star, from New York to Florida. Goes to Tampa first and then backtracks and then goes to Miami. Not exactly the shortcut. And he doesn't have a charger on the point. I gotta say one thing, the horns on the locomotives on Virginia Railway Express don't quite have the pizzazz that the cab cars do, at least some of them. It's unusual to have cab car horns sounding better than the locomotive horns on a commuter railroad. Usually it's the other way around. The worst case examples of the horns sounding better than the cab cars. It's the Long Island Railroad, that's probably the worst, followed by Metro North. Their cab car horns are rather ordinary. Other commuter railroads have K5LAs on their cab cars like their locomotives. Metra, they have some interesting horns on the cab cars, as well as MBTA. Caltrain is just blah, ordinary P2 horns. And I'm gonna go out there and listen to some more. Torture. But by far the best cab car horns on any commuter railroad are on Virginia Railway Express. 424 arriving as VRE train 305. I'll be boarding this and riding it to Quantico. Creek. There's the Potomac River, and on the other side is Maryland. Well, this is Powell's Creek. Slow because we have a freight train on the other track. Probably switching over to get out of our way. Just got off 305 at Quantico. Interesting gadget. They need it for a platform like this with cars like this. See the new platform extension under construction? Not open yet. Conductor's great-grandfather worked for the RF&P. Chatting with him before I got off. Quantico Station, Quantico, Virginia, gateway to the Marine Corps. There's an FBI training center near here too. The very first time I railfanned Virginia Railway Express was back in the spring of 1993. It had been around about a year. The trains had Mafursa cars and were powered by GP39 HEP locomotives. Establishments on Potomac Avenue here in Quantico. Tokyo Japanese restaurant. Downtown Quantico, Virginia. This is 125 Springfield, Mass. to Newport News. Nice horn on number 196 engine. That's train 125 from Springfield, Mass. to Newport News, Virginia. But approaching at 5:13 is Virginia Railway Express 307. Freight train coming. Gates are going down at 5:42. This is for Amtrak's moneymaker, train 53, the auto train. Approaching at 5:55 is 309. I'm going to ride this train to Fredericksburg. Let's listen to those asthmatic MP36 horns. They're not nearly as good as the cab car horns.
Fredericksburg, train 309 is now arriving. Please stand behind the yellow line and allow passengers to detrain before boarding. Thank you for riding the VRE.
This area is called Widewater, and you can see why it's called that. Arrived in Fredericksburg. A lot of people got off. Those MP36s, they sound good, they look good in that paint scheme, but the horns, They all sound the same. At least there's some variety with the cab cars. They added an extension to the platforms here. This was not here back in November 22 when I was here in a driving rainstorm. Let's check out the historic city of Fredericksburg. Back in December of 1862 in the Battle of Fredericksburg, the Union Army actually took the town for a little while, but they were run out by the Confederates with their tails between their legs, unfortunately. And the Union general who led that battle, General Burnside, definitely was very nearsighted, and the Union Army suffered one of its worst defeats as the Confederates held the high ground here and just ran them right out of town. Well, here is the Rappahannock River on the north side of town. That bridge in the background is the old RF&P bridge, the CSX line, RF&P Sub. Looks like an old Lackawanna railroad structure. A lot of people fishing here. Yeah, this is the Rappahannock River that the Union Army had great difficulty crossing in 1862 due to the late arrival of pontoon boats which allowed them to cross the river and go into the city. Because of the delay in the pontoon boats, the Confederate Army was able to fortify on the hillsides around the city and ran them out of town. Well, it's 6:58. About to pass over the Rappahannock River is Virginia Railway Express 311. There's a memorial here, Fredericksburg City Dock. This was a location of one of the pontoon bridges that crossed the river. Also, legend has it that, well, George Washington lived across the river during his boyhood. And according to legend, he cut down his father's cherry tree and he threw a silver dollar across this river. He must have had a pretty strong arm. 7:23, here comes Amtrak 93 en route from Boston to Norfolk. It's crossing the Rappahannock River as I speak. Lovely Ampli brake music. Here comes 186. Got a long trip ahead of him to New York. Yeah, he's almost an hour late. He's not going to get into New York until after midnight. Well, it's 7:45 p.m. I'm about to complete my Virginia Railway Express hopscotching from Washington, D.C. to Spotsylvania. Counting this train, train number 313, I would have ridden on 5 different VRE trains between Washington, D.C. and Spotsylvania. Interesting way to spend the day, eh? Last few days I've had a very interesting time on the old Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac. Now the CSX RF&P Subdivision. All right, 7:49, here comes VRE train 313.
Train 313 is now arriving. Please stand behind the yellow line and allow passengers to retrace before boarding. Thank you for riding the VRE.
Back in Spotsylvania again. Been gone 13 hours since I left here on train 312. Been quite an eventful, exciting day, and it's been fun riding around and rail fanning this wonderful VRE system and the CSX trains and the Amtrak trains on this busy RF&P Sub. It was definitely worth the trip. Into the yard he goes. He's got to climb a steep grade to get into the yard. And trailing on the rear of this train is my good friend Cab Car V718 with the wicked horn. I thought 714 had the best horn, but this one tops them. It's wild.